You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, let's do it. The elite teams proving to be just a little bit of a problem for the Knicks, specifically this season. Sunday, no exception. New York blown out in Boston by the Celtics. Final score 118-105 of the matinee affair. Wasn't that close. New York got a 27-point deficit down to single digits in the third quarter, but the Celtics pulled away late, and now the Knicks are a combined 0-7 against the three best teams in the NBA. We'll break it all down right here on the Knicks Postcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Please join me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. All right, let's do it. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks Postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The Postcast, which is this, gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns tried to will the Knicks in the second half, but the mountain proved too high to climb, and New York has now lost back-to-back games to Cleveland and Boston, the two teams in front of them in the Eastern Conference, and to make it even worse, as we said, 0-7 against OKC, Cleveland, and Boston, the three best teams in the NBA. All that coming up on the Postcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Also, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. As we said, 118-105. The Knicks lose to the Celtics. Celtics now 41-16. They've opened up a 4-game lead over the Knicks for the 2 spot in the Eastern Conference. Of course, the Cavs comfortably in front of Boston, and now the Celtics comfortably in front of the Knicks. 1, 2, 3 in the top of the Eastern Conference. Really hadn't had much change of late, and that certainly won't be the change today that anybody was looking for. Things got ugly early for the Knicks. The Celtics started the game on a 13-3 run, and just like that, the Knicks were down double digits. They were outscored by Boston in the first quarter, 38-19. As we said, a 13-3 run right out of the gates, and the Knicks were spinning their wheels. As for the numbers, all 5 Knicks starters were in double digits. However, clearly wasn't enough. 24 for Karl Anthony Towns. We'll get to the sore left knee that appeared to end his day quickly. That did come in the fourth quarter. We'll discuss. Karl Anthony Towns, as we said, 24 points, 18 rebounds. He had a pretty good night numbers-wise, considering the Knicks were basically down double digits all night. Jalen Brunson had 22, so 46 combined between the two leaders. Brunson, 9 of 19. Karl Anthony Towns, 9 of 20. So they were very similar in their efficiency. Josh Hart, in his return, of course, missed the last 2 games. The Knicks had their full starting lineup in there, and it obviously proved to be too much for the Celtics. Josh Hart had 20, 11, and 9. And considering the Knicks at one point were down 27 and pretty much down double digits the entire afternoon, some of these box score numbers are pretty good. As we said, Karl Anthony Towns 24 and 18, Jalen Brunson 22, 3 and 4, and Josh Hart nearly pulled off a triple-double in the loss, had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. And speaking of assists, that's where the Knicks struggled tonight in the assist to turnover ratio department. Just 21 assists total from the Knicks today. They were not sharing the basketball with the exception of Josh Hart. 11 turnovers, which is below the season average, but 21-11 assist to turnover ratio is not good enough. The Knicks had just 4 players come off the bench: Precious, Cam, Miles, and Landry. and they combined to score just 15 of the Knicks' 105 points. So when 9 guys are playing and 5 of them are scoring all the points, that's a direct correlation to minutes played. And we've discussed this with the bench specifically of late. The minutes are down. The points are down. Thus, those averages stay where they are for the season. Specifically, points off the bench. The Knicks are averaging just over 20 points per game from their bench, dead last in the NBA, and more of the same tonight. As we said, just 15 of the 105 scored came off the bench, and that's with a second quarter run featuring most of the bench players, with most of the starters out at that point in time. Cam Payne came in with a quick 7. Landry Shamet did a couple of 3-pointers, and the bench was rolling. However, you got to get back to the starters, and the starters certainly just didn't have it today. Again, Mikal Bridges had 14 on 6 of 13 shooting. OG Anunoby, who is back for a second game, missed the previous 6, however, has not been great. He played 35 minutes tonight, scored just 10 points, 2 field goals. And not much else for OG, who is clearly not at 100%. Now we have to worry about Karl Anthony Towns, who in the fourth quarter, with roughly 7 or 8 minutes to play, he would bang his left knee, would leave, actually limp to the bench, then back to the locker room, then back to the bench, and then back into the game, but clearly not 100%. So the Knicks are banged up. They all played today, so there are no excuses, but Josh Hart, the day-to-day soreness of the knee, will not leave him anytime soon, so he's not playing at 100%. Karl Anthony Towns now with the knee, of course, had the thumb prior, so it has not been a long stretch of 100% basketball for Karl Anthony Towns. Of course, OG with the foot, and in his first game back, OG appeared to re-injure that foot. He did stay in the game against Cleveland a couple of nights back. But again, he is not 100% either. Really, the only 2 starters that are 100%, Mikal Bridges, who has been quiet of late, and Jalen Brunson, who tries like heck to will his team to wins. As we said, Bridges had just 14 points, plus minus for a second consecutive game, as expected in a loss, as expected in a blowout. Not good. Bridges was a minus 23, the lowest of all Knicks starters tonight. Josh Hart next at a minus 12. But again, the Knicks had 3 scores in the 20-point scoring department. Josh Hart had 20, Jalen Brunson had 22, and Cat had 24. Speaking of the starting lineup, believe it or not, thanks to these small injuries that have lingered over the last couple of weeks, the Knicks have had 6 different starting lineups this entire season. And folks, that is the fewest in the NBA. So despite the fact that we haven't had OG for a while, or Josh for a while, or put them together for a while, the Knicks still have the fewest amount of starting lineups in the NBA this season. That number again is 6. We told you about the 23-5 third quarter run by the Knicks. The Celtics led by 27. Knicks got it down to 6. But that's as close as they would get. Jason Tatum, another brilliant performance. The Celtics, too, had all 5 scores in double digits. Tatum had 25 on 8 of 20 shooting, 3 3-pointers. Now, we do talk about free throws, and we talk about percentages. Well, they were bingo for both teams today. In fact, neither team missed a free throw, both 11 of 11. Don't see that very often. 22 free throws taken by the 2 teams combined, 22 made. Of course, the Celtics, known for chucking up threes, they average 48 threes taken per game. They were actually below their season average today. They chucked up just 44, 17 threes, 17 of 44. That's 39%, believe it or not, below their season average. They shot 50% from the floor, 45 of 91. As we said, old friend Kristaps Porzingis was excellent as well. He was 6 of 15 from the floor, had 15. Drew Holiday had 14. Derek White had 19. And of course, Jalen Brown had 24, 17 three-pointers from the Celtics tonight. As for Karl Anthony Towns, we told you about the sore left knee. We'll have to wait and see for an update. He has now registered 43 double-doubles in 52 games. So a pretty impressive number, stat number there for Karl Anthony Towns. He did not register a point, believe it or not, today until the second quarter with 4.5 to play in the second quarter. That was the first points he scored. Remember, folks, Karl Anthony Towns finished with 24. That is a team high, and considering he didn't score any points in the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter, really quite a remarkable performance box score-wise for guys like Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, despite those huge runs from the Celtics and despite those huge droughts from the Knicks. As we said, the Knicks only lost by 13. At one point, they were down 27, so you kind of got the feel that this one was over relatively early. As we said, there are three teams in front of the Knicks in the standings in both the Eastern and Western conferences. Cleveland and Boston in the East. Knicks have no chance against those teams. Oklahoma City in the West. Knicks have no chance against those three teams. A combined 0-7 now against Cleveland, Boston, and Oklahoma City. That's where you measure yourself against the elite. And the Knicks are certainly struggling there. The Knicks have given up at least 100 points in 23 of their last 25 games. And as we said, the Knicks have now lost back-to-back games to Cleveland and Boston. They had not lost back-to-back games since early January. January 4th and January 6th against the Bulls and the Orlando Magic. That was the last time. So it's been nearly 2 months since the Knicks have lost back-to-back games. But now they have done so again. Of course, a big loss in Cleveland, 142-105, and then a big loss in Boston, 118-105. We'll get to the schedule and the standings coming up. Again, 118-105. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll discuss the numbers, as we said, scheduling-wise and standings-wise. All right, NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Here are a few ways you can take advantage of the deal. Planning to catch the next game? Order your go-to snacks, meals at a discount. Get ready for more high-scoring action. Need a quick and easy lunch the next day? With Dash Pass, you get your favorite meals with $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. Plus, now you can save even more with this exclusive NBA offer. Whether you're staying up watching highlights or just need a midnight snack, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. After an epic 50-point performance, celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot. Delivered straight to your door. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. All right, segment 2 of the show. Knicks facing and losing to the Celtics in Boston. No surprise there. The Knicks have not beaten the Celtics this year. They have not beaten Oklahoma City this year. They have not beaten Cleveland this year. Those are the three teams in front of the Knicks in the Eastern and Western conferences, respectively. And the Knicks can't touch them. In fact, they've been blown out in all of those games. The Celtics held a 20-point lead at one stage in all three games against the Knicks this season. Of course, all three of them, Boston wins. Again, in each of the three games the Knicks and Celtics have played, Boston has had at least a 20-point lead in all three. We talked about the assists. We told you about the assist to turnover ratio, how poor it was, 21-11, not going to get it done. When the Knicks register at least 30 assists, it's usually a pretty good barometer of things to come, usually means a win. In fact, the Knicks, and we've discussed this of late, have dished out 30-plus assists in a game 22 times. They're 20-2 in those games. Only twice have the Knicks dished out 30-plus assists and lost. They didn't get close to that number tonight. Again, just 21. As for the Celtics, 27-10. Excellent assist to turnover ratio, 27 assists, 9 from Jason Tatum. Tatum 1 assist short of a triple-double, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and a steal. So almost had a triple-double in 2 separate neighborhoods. Obviously, Josh Hart for the Knicks, who was 1 assist shy of a triple-double, and Jason Tatum was 1 assist shy of a triple-double as well. He had 25, 10, and 9. But again, Celtics with 27 assists to just 10 turnovers. They also thoroughly out-rebounded the Knicks. The Knicks registered 33 rebounds, 37 for Boston, and that came late. The Knicks had just 2 players with offensive rebounds. No surprise, Josh Hart and Karl Anthony Towns were the only 2 players with at least 1 offensive rebound. So the Knicks were not there as far as second chance points. Now, Josh Hart missed 2 games out with the sore knee, was right back in there tonight, and you could see how much the Knicks missed Josh Hart. 8 of 14 from the floor, did not attempt a 3, but as we said, 11 rebounds and 9 assists to go along with his 20 points. However, a -12 does not get the job done. As for the minutes, well, let's check. Mikal Bridges, who, of course, continues to lead the NBA at nearly 39 per, played just 28 minutes tonight. So, a short night against Cleveland, several nights back for Bridges and company. A short night or a short day against Boston. Again, just 28 minutes. OG played 35. Karl Anthony Towns, despite leaving with the sore knee, actually played 41 minutes tonight. Josh Hart played 40. Jalen Brunson played 38. Of course, Bridges, Hart, and OG all inside the top 10 in minutes played in the NBA, with Bridges number 1, Hart number 3, and OG also inside the top 10. All right, 118-105. Celtics are now 41-16. They're 18-10 at home. The Knicks are 17-10 away. They fall to 37-20 overall. And again, as we said, 17-10 away. And they've now lost back-to-back games for the first time since very early in January, right as the calendar flipped from 24 to 25. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll tell you about the elite troubles once again for the Knicks. And of course, have to check the scheduling and the standings. We'll do it all next. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to be in on the fourth quarter action, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. How about that? I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch 3, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, this is key, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, the Knicks lose again. Final score, 118-105 to the Celtics. As we've said multiple times on the postcast, they have now played Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland a total of 7 times this season. They've been wiped out in all 7, including against the Celtics, where in all 3 games this year, the Celtics have held a lead against the Knicks of at least 20. Now, they didn't win by 20. They won by 13. However, get this, Boston's won 5 straight. We told you that. They have 15 wins by at least 20 points this season. 15 20-plus point victories, and today was not one of them. Again, they only won by 13. It wasn't really that close. Now, remember, the Celtics at one point led the Knicks by 27. It's amazing to say, amazing to hear. And again, as we said, the Knicks have 25 games remaining. As for the Knicks under Tibbs after the All-Star break, we mentioned this the last couple of games. Now that we're firmly past the All-Star break, the Knicks have a great record under Tibbs after the All-Star break. Now 66-44 with the loss today under Tibbs in the 5 seasons he's been here. As we said, just 25 games remaining. The Knicks have played 57 games, 25 to go. So the stretch run is officially underway. As for OG, who of course missed 6 games, he's played the last 2 not well. In fact, only took 7 shots today. Well, the Knicks in the games OG has played since he was acquired, they are 52-22, 30 games above 500. That includes today's loss. Of course, without him, not equally as much success. 18-15, still above 500, but a huge difference. 52-22 with him, 18-15 without him. As for Josh Hart, we told you missed the last 2 games. This was the first time in a while the Knicks have had all 5 of their regular starters back in there. In fact, we told you this earlier, bears repeating, 6 different starting lineups for the Knicks this year, the fewest in the NBA. And of course, Mikal Bridges has not missed a game yet, not only this season, but his entire career ever since being drafted. So again, Bridges, one of 8 players in the entire league to play in every game. All right, as we said, Mitchell Robinson is getting close. In fact, there was a pregame report that in as soon as a week, we might see Mitchell Robinson. Of course, we still have to do the schedule and standings. We'll get to that. But again, as we said, Mitchell Robinson, according to a report, likely to return soon, which would be a huge, huge boon for the Knicks. That would get them where they need to be, certainly defensively. And as we said, we saw him in the presser a couple of weeks ago, looked thin, looked trim, looked in shape, looked ready to go. And again, no definitive word yet from the team, but again, at some point soon, we will see Mitchell Robinson. All right, 118-105. As for the standings, Knicks drop a game to the Celtics in the standings, now trail Boston by 4 in the standings. Cavs lead the Celtics by 5.5. Cavs lead the Knicks by 9.5. So the Knicks now a full 4 games. However, the Knicks have a 5-game cushion over the Pacers in the 3-4 slot. So no rest for the weary in any respect, but the Knicks are comfortably in front of the Pacers. So it looks like that 1, 2, 3 spots, if you will, in the Eastern Conference, pretty much where they're going to be when the season ends. Nobody's going to catch Cleveland. Doubt the Knicks catch the Celtics. They're 4 back now. And again, Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, 1, 2, 3 in the Eastern Conference. As for the schedule, well, it lightens up for one day. Knicks get the Sixers on Wednesday. So they'll be off on Monday and Tuesday. Sixers on Wednesday. Then it really tightens up. The Knicks will be in Memphis and then Miami next Friday and Sunday. Then home for a quickie against the Warriors, which will never be easy. That's the following Tuesday. Then, as we said, 11 days, 5 games all out west. In LA against the Lakers. In LA against the Clippers. Remember, those are 2 separate buildings now. In Sacramento to face the Kings. Then in Portland to face the Blazers. And in San Francisco. So they get the Warriors twice in a week. Now, the Warriors are not the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Cavs or the Celtics for that matter. But you know Steph's going to get up for the Knicks, especially at Madison Square Garden, which will be up first. That's Tuesday, March 4th. The final home game for the Knicks before they head out west for that 11-day, 5-game Western Conference swing. Now, if you recall, the Knicks earlier this season had 2 5-game homestands. The second of those 2 5-game homestands featured all Western Conference teams. They get a 5-game road trip now featuring all Western Conference teams. All right, so the Knicks got back Josh Hart, and they got back OG Anunoby several nights ago, and it still didn't make a difference. Knicks lose to the Cavs by a lot a couple of nights ago. They lose by the Celtics by less, but it really wasn't that close. Despite the run the Knicks went on in the second half to get it down to single digits from 27. In fact, the Celtics started the game on a 13-3 run, and the Knicks never had a chance from that point on. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also want to mention our partners in crime, the All-Stars, Gavin Scholl and Alex Wolf. They, of course, handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. As we said, 118-105, the final score. Knicks got 24 from Karl Anthony Towns, 22 from Jalen Brunson, but it wasn't enough because the Celtics stifled the Knicks once again. As we said, the Knicks have played OKC, Cleveland, and Boston a combined 7 times. They've been wiped off the map in all 7. All 3 against the Celtics have featured a lead of Boston by at least 20 points over the Knicks in all 3 games they've played this season. It gets no worse than that. Of course, we'll be with you immediately following Wednesday's game from the Garden against Philadelphia before we hit the road. Again, a brutal stretch here for the Knicks. We'll see how they handle it. Again, 118-105, Knicks lose to the Boston Celtics in Boston. We'll see you Wednesday night after the Knicks and Sixers from the Garden. Good night, everyone.